Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Day 2 coverage of the State Shield.
Excited to be here, Walker. What are our expectations on the Leadbeaters and the Thunderbirds?
Yeah, so we've got this is the qualifying final for the grand final. And so Victorian Leadbeaters against the Queensland Thunderbirds. Expectations, so as they matched up in pool play, I believe Queensland took out the win there.
It was a good game. Hoping to see another one. We are expecting to be a little bit different in this game. The Victorians have had a small change in team, so have the Queenslanders. The Queenslanders have lost a few to injuries. I believe they've lost their second keeper.
Jordan Fraser, number
Jordan
42.
Fraser.
And Victoria have got the inclusion of Michelle Mannering, so that only strengthens their female chasing lineup.
Both teams are a bit banged up, and the field, as we can all see from up here, is soaking wet after a hard day's night of rain.
Yep.
Let's see if this impacts the game. Any specific players that we're keeping an eye out for, Walker?
Yeah, obviously I think the big quaffle player on day one for Victoria was Nathan Morton with his left arm shots. Very hard as a keeper to block those. I'm not used to that angle.
Coming from the Blue Tongues, I believe a good majority of their goals was from Morton.
Yeah.
Let's see if they're able to diversify their goal scoring this game. Do you think that's what they'll need to win?
Yeah, he's been pretty instrumental in their success for the goal scoring. I think they will want to use the impact of... I think Maddie Bell will have a good game here. A good matchup against the Queensland team. Given that we've seen Will Arnold do a lot of behind hoops wing marking, and I think Maddie Bell matches him on height, so potentially a matchup there that'll be pretty notable. We've seen Victoria use behind hoops chases quite a lot into shots and drives from there, which I think has been a very good tactic for them. It's also something that would work against them since they're playing their tight zone for this competition.
I would argue this is potentially the most balanced game of the tournament. What do you think, Walker? Because most teams usually have either experience on their side or they're bolstered by new talent. It seems as though what Queensland lacks in the high amount of experience that the Victorians have, they make up for with new, fresh players with their unique spin on the game. For example, as we mentioned, Will Arnold, also Aaron Sybil beating.
Yeah, well, Aaron Sybil, obviously an experienced player, but recently made the move to Queensland and also moved to beating. And that's been pretty instrumental in Queensland's success. I would say he's one of their key beaters in this lineup.
I have to... On the topic of key beaters, I have to mention how impressed I was with the Queenslanders not only running a double female beating line, which is completely different to what the Victorians have been doing so far, but they've actually been pulling it off quite well. I believe when they defeated the Firehawks, there were 4 female players on the team and 2 male beaters. 2 male players.
Very exciting and really shows the depth of Quidditch talent in Queensland.
We're seeing Joe Dodd walk onto the field. We know he's walking away with a bit of an injury. And he doesn't have that Fraser sub to back him up.
I believe Caleb Ward will probably keep him. Do you want to talk us through the starting line for Queensland?
So we've got the Queensland drop bears. It's very clear to see that the Thunderbirds are really built around this drop bears lineup. They love having these players on the field as long as they can. We've got Elise speeding. We've yet to see her partner, so that'll be interesting to see.
Looks like Daniel Shaft.
Shaft has had I think this is the standard lineup they've started almost every single game. I reckon, who do you think is going to win this run, Lindley or Morton?
It's tough. Nathan Morton has the left arm, so I don't know if they chose Quaffle's side for their runners. If I would have chosen Bludger's side, as Blue Tongues have been doing every single match.
We're starting to see the sprinklings and start of rain, which is definitely going to negatively impact the shooting game from both teams. We know that the Queenslanders love a good shot, and on top of that, Morton is very renowned for his shooting, but they're going to have to rely on more of a push-pass, quick shot, opposed to the standard over-the-shoulder throw. So they're going to have to rely on something that both the Queenslanders haven't necessarily been relying on too much, which is faster, quicker, more offloady playing, opposed to their standard giving the defense a little bit of distance and then making a shot.
Yeah, I think the rain is actually going to benefit Victoria a little bit more. We've seen them have solid contact, but given the tight zone, I don't think we'll see. I think we'll see a bit more of a messier game in terms of contact and running through people, which is only going to enhance Victoria's defensive capabilities playing into that zone.
It's like we're getting to see Mud Bash 2022 after all, Walker.
Victorian starting line, we have Nathan Morden running for the quaffle, Anthony Hogan contesting the bludger, Maddie Bell in the infiltrator position, Hannah Warravens as another chaser, Jack Emerton and Ben Watson. Cooper Fitzgerald is our head ref, and we are getting underway.
We're seeing Ant running with Schrafe. Let's see how this... Sorry, Daniel Schaaf, my mistake. Ant has had a very tempestuous tournament so far. He's either dominating or he's getting dominated. Oh, and he's lost ball.
Missed shot from Josh Lindley. Will Arnold almost keeps it alive.
A little bit of a cheeky kick there, Walker. Hope to see a little bit more of them in this rainy condition.
Yeah. Josh Lindley coming on top in the quaffle run there. Using his experience from European games as our starting quaffle runner.
So what defense do you think the Queenslanders will be employing? Because I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Victorians doing their classic tight zone.
Yeah, it looks to be a bit of a looser zone, which is designed to counter the shots. Good deflect from Will Arnold there. Victoria still holding on to the ball.
Close goal from Maddie Bell. Good to see the Victorians getting it from behind.
In almost a double point here, loosely. Good screen from Hannah Warravens. Unlucky shot from Nathan Morden there. Queensland will be pretty happy with that.
I will say, it looked like the Victorians were close, but I have to argue, I feel like they were close to a goal when they were moving it to Maddie Bell opposed to the rush shot from Nathan Morden. If I was from the vantage point up here, I would have given Anne a little bit more time to get back up and cause a little bit of mayhem. We're seeing this Victorian tight zone that they love so much. Walker, how do you think the Queenslanders are going to counter?
I would love to see the Queenslanders use a lot of Will Arnold play behind hoops and use him to set up reverse
fan of that Arnold,
alleys.
aren't you, Walker? Jesus Christ, don't you have a girlfriend?
I think if they use a lot of behind hoops play and then move the ball back over the other side of hoops, almost in a reverse alley, so starting the ball behind the hoops and then scoring from the front,
Ooh,
that'll be quite successful.
We've got a misbeat from and a change. Oh, we had an almost change in control play, but Ant's got it back.
Nathan Morden accelerating the quaffle up. The one bludger makes it back on a defense, but now there's none. No goal, missed dunk from Jack Emerton.
You can definitely see that Ant is trying to take advantage of the new introduced contact rules, the double hand and the behind. I feel as though he's almost overcommitting. We've seen him almost lose control twice now.
I think it was a fairly solid run given that Nathan Morden was accelerating the quaffle quite high. Josh Lindley with the quaffle now, keeping Maddie Bell away. Maddie Bell doing a very solid work on point. So we've got Kaysan behind hoops here. I'd love to see Will Arnold drive it deep and use her there. Victoria pressing up higher with their beaters. We're coming back. Very valiant work done by Maddie Bell on point here.
I feel like the Victorians are really doing a good job at providing a lot of pressure to the Queenslanders, forcing them to win with a set offense opposed to their typical quick attack.
Missed dunk from Kaysan Hockey. Bludger control did get briefly turned over to Queensland, but Victoria now retain it. Score still sitting at 0-0. What do you think of that, Jackson?
I think that just tells us how much of a not only a balanced game this is going to be, but an interesting game.
Caroline Crawford on for Victoria now and subbing for Maddie Bell.
We're seeing Ant doing
stuck with the quaffle. Good wrap up from Will Arnold.
We've seen Ant was able to push their one beater away from hoops for a good portion of the offense, but unfortunately I believe that the beater was moved behind, which is exactly what the Victorians wanted the quaffle. It's a shame they didn't get that ball in, but have to tip the hat off to the Queensland's resolve on defense.
We've got Ruth Creffield on now for the Queensland Thunderbirds. Looking to make inroads, doing a beater wall on right side. Joe Dodge shoots, and Hannah Rawravens deflects. They had Kaysan behind hoops as well. It was a good setup from Queensland.
I definitely feel like the Queenslanders are playing the game to the Victorians' tune. They're not going to win this game by making quick shots on the hoops. That's what Nathan Morton and the defense want. We saw a quick defense from, I believe it was Rawravens.
Yeah.
Could have been an easy transition of quaffle play.
Yeah, I think if you position your wing receivers a little bit deeper and use that long arm from Joe Dodd to get down to them and use them as playmaking, I think Queensland will have a lot more success behind the hoops rather than trying to go for the shots. So far, we haven't seen any behind the hoops action really from Queensland.
I disagree. I believe the closest they got to a really close goal was when Arnold got the ball behind, then to Kaysan Hockey, and Hockey made a shot, almost getting it in.
Yeah.
I think they were close on a winning recipe over there, winning formula, but let's see if they can follow through.
This will be a bludger turnover, which is going to result in Victoria having no bludgers. Oh, one behind hoops, sorry. But this could be a brief opportunity for Queensland to get into the game with a goal.
Does Ant not have yellow?
Oh, my bad. I thought... I didn't see that bludger. It's also yellow. I don't know how I missed that. Looks like Joe Dodd might use a reset here to get Kaysan back into the action.
Ball out to Will Arnold. He's alone
got no
against
support.
5 Victorians.
Good use of the reset from him. One continuous motion, so that's not a double reset. However, in the new rule book, it will be.
I was going to say, Walker, a bit of a contentious ruling in prior games, but it's good to see that Will Arnold, although experienced, has a good respect for the rules. We've got Aaron Sybil now on for the beating game, taken out by Ant.
Great
and a goal from Kaysan.
Deemed to be beat before, I believe. I think Ben Watson got a last-minute beat. But just as we were talking about in commentary, the use of Kaysan Hockey behind hoops has been really good there.
You've got to respect the way that Aaron got onto field and was able to create a small but an effective opening.
I'm really liking the use of the wall from the Queensland Beaters, and they're really communicating that well with the Queensland Chasers. Unfortunately, that goal was just deemed no good due to the beat. So great goal save by Ben Watson.
That's all right, Queensland. You can do it once, you can do it again. Talking back to the ref, that's never a good idea against Cooper Fitzgerald. I can tell that from experience.
Or any ref for that matter. Nathan Morton running the quaffle up. Looks to be an easy goal for him.
And a goal.
Victoria drawing first blood in this game. And retaining control there.
We're going to see, I think, almost a complete change in beating play. We've got Nicola Gertler on, changing for Ben Watson. Let's see how that's going to impact the beating play. Oh, and we're seeing Ant change as well onto Sam Fitzpatrick. How do you think this is going to impact the beating play?
Yeah, Sam Kilpatrick, quite athletic. I've been really impressed by his athleticism this weekend. I'm hoping he can inject a bit of energy into this offense for a set play.
I do believe that Gertler is quite skilled and talented at maintaining control, but I have been impressed at... Oh, and a quick change in control.
Great play from Elise Fox.
But as you said...
Beat before as well, I believe. No, that was... Great goal from Kaysan Hockey there. Beater play from Queensland coming in clutch there, drawing out the bludger.
Great.
And then use of Kaysan Hockey to score the goal on the side that they made the play.
Great timing and chemistry from both Elise
and
Aaron Sybil at the same time, whilst also Kaysan getting the ball where it needed to be.
Yeah. We've got Josh Lindley keeping now. Looks to be in the keeper point position.
Oh no.
Good block from Kaysan.
We're seeing Aaron maintaining control, but not necessarily focusing too much on quaffle play, but that doesn't matter. The Queenslanders, what they lack in your standard traditional beating play, they make up for in scrap. Walker.
Nat Astelosh taking the blodge out of Aaron Towns and throwing it down pitch. Looks to be a call of some sort. I don't know what happened though. Sam Kilpatrick, so it looked to be a foul on Sam Kilpatrick and it was deemed to be safe, although he did give up the bludger.
They lose control, but they do not lose a goal.
Yeah.
Queenslanders are still in it. 10-10.
Playing in range, I think will play to Victoria's favour. We've seen them be quite dominant with snitch on pitch, and they have, in my opinion, a better seeking lineup than Queensland. So if they can keep this game close, Victoria definitely has a chance.
We've seen another transition of control
goal.
Back to Queensland.
Good beat from Sam Kilpatrick there to stop the quaffle, and good deflect from Nathan Morton.
I have to say that the Fox and Sybil partnership right now, I think, has been the most effective partnership of the entire game so far. Really enjoying their chemistry.
Good deflect. Queensland stalling the quaffle, using their beaters to try and make inroads on control there. Nothing happened so far. They're not using that behind the hoops chaser so far, although we've got Ashley King fairly deep on the left.
We're seeing the Queenslanders use a much tighter defense than before with the Lindley keeper combination.
Control retained, control regained for Victoria. Although Elise is making inroads over there. Manages to recover the bludger. Great play from Elise Fox. Dropped quaffle from Ashley King.
The athleticism that we said would be coming from Fitzpatrick is instead coming from Fox. Great to see that the Queenslanders maintaining control and quaffle. We've got Caleb Ward subbing on, going on the deep wing. It seems as though he's going to try and cover what Will Arnold was trying to do earlier in the game.
Yeah. Josh Lindley with a drive. Into the shot, misses. Ooh. Just over the top of Caleb Ward as well.
Wet hands will do that to you, Walker. We're seeing a no-beaters situation. Are the Victorians going to take advantage of that?
Victoria have control now, but the one bludger is pretty set up on defense, so they're going to go slow. We've got Kip Mulcaster on now for Nathan Morton.
How do you think that's going to change up the quaffle play with a change in keeping? As we said earlier, the Victoria in the past have been relying on Morton to get their quaffle goals.
I think it'll be useful to try a different tactic rather than the shots. Little deflect there. Josh Lindley recovers the quaffle.
I've got to say, I've been loving 28's play. Oh, and a behind steal from Mulcaster. Not being able to get the ball out, but I admire the gumption, Walker. I admire the grit. We're actually seeing Lachlan Ward now. First time on for the Thunderbirds for the whole tournament.
I thought he dodged that bludger. Yeah, I was really impressed with Lachlan Ward's play for the Firehawks yesterday.
I feel as though the Firehawks were using him as a beater and dropping him up to sort of create a little bit of energy, a little bit of a fire. And from what I remember, they were using him to get control just before that snitch on pitch play.
Drops his broom.
It looks as though he's trying to use his athleticism to sort of get that ball out of Gertler's hands, but 2 times it's 2-0 to Gertler so far.
Caleb Ward behind hoops, still relatively open.
We're seeing a big
we've
drop.
Got Nicola Gertler covering that angle there.
With most of those drop bears off field, we're seeing a big drop in experience from the Queensland's chasing lineup. How do you think that's going to impact their gameplay, Walker?
I think Josh Lindley can still control the game, but I'd like to see him give the ball to Caleb Ward. His beaters have made an opening. Goal! Good drive from Josh Lindley, really patient. The beaters opened up an opportunity for him, and he took that with open arms. Ooh. Sam Kilpatrick with a clutch beat. Sorry, clutch catch. Bludger manages to get back for Queensland. Hannah Warravens Sorry, that's Maddie Elliott dropping the quaffle there. Unlucky for Victoria. They had the no bludgers opportunity that Sam Kilpatrick created with his catch on hoops and then an immediate follow-up on the other Queensland beater.
We've got Quinlan on field. Quinlan's had a pretty good tournament so far. He likes to play it dangerously. He likes a big risk and a big reward. So let's see how this is going to play, especially with the them needing to get control as the game progresses.
Yeah, we've got Tim Scott and Matt Tingate and Maddie Elliott who have subbed on for Victoria in the chasing lineup.
They're doing instead of the classic Morton keeping, they've got Mulcaster on point and they've got Scott defending.
Goal from Will Arnold, backhand shot, really good pressure there from Victoria.
We're starting to see a little bit of more momentum from the Queenslanders. It looks as though they're in the Victorians' head, but we've got a no-beater situation. Let's see if the Victorians can counter.
Tim Scott with a shot. It goes straight in after a clever beat on Josh Lindley just as he was outside of keeper zone. Good counter-attack from Victoria, keeping the score at 30-20. I believe that's correct.
I believe Lindley's been on for quite a while. Do you think we're going to expect Joe Dodd back on later in the game?
Yeah, potentially. I assume that Josh Lindley will come on as a chaser again. He's definitely controlling the quaffle game, and he has the smarts and experience to do so. So I fully trust him against Victoria.
Seeing Mulcaster point, but just outside of keeper zone. Let's see if they're able to adopt the defense that the Queenslanders have been using, I should say.
Oh, missed catch there.
And a quick beat from Gertler.
Jay Quinlan attempts to regain control. Tim Scott. Wet quaffle not helping, but a great 1-2 from Kit Mulcaster and Tim Scott there to get around Queensland's defense.
This is the second time we've seen the Queenslander beaters have overcommitted too late and have created a no-beater situation that the Victorian beaters have pressured them into, and their chaser lineup being able to capitalise on.
Queensland calling a timeout here, very tactical from them, just as Victoria started to get back into the beater game a bit.
It's great to see them using a timeout at the right time. When the opposition is building up momentum, that is when the time to put a big roadblock in their way. How do you think the Queenslanders are going to adjust to the way that their beaters are taking advantage of theirs?
I think we saw Queensland's majority of their successes came when we had Aaron Sybil and Elise Fox on, performing coordinated strikes with their bludgers or even without bludgers to free up opportunities for Queensland. We haven't seen that since they've subbed off.
I believe the Queenslanders need to, instead of going for control plays on their offense, they need to get that bludger back onto hoops to stop the Victorian fast breaks, because as we've seen, 2 of their 3 goals have been from fast breaks, unlike the Queenslanders. And they need to just keep that beater's eye on the quaffle, as Fox and Sybil were doing, and then go for the control play when the Victorians are on the back foot.
Yeah, I think all Victoria will want to do here is just keep it neck and neck, and really they should have the advantage on snitch on pitch. I think, though, if they prioritise snitch too much and they can't catch quickly, then Queensland have an opportunity to get back out of range. So we'll see how close the game goes to snitch on pitch.
I wouldn't count the Queenslanders out just yet, Walker. We've seen I have to say, out of the many interesting beaters on the Queensland team, 11 I've been really impressed with. She's actually been beating with another female beater throughout the day.
Yeah, that's Ruth Creffield.
She's got a great vision under pressure, and but we have been seeing that the Queenslanders, I believe, have been more adaptive in their gameplay than the Victorians. So if anyone can change the way they're playing, it's definitely the Queenslanders.
Yeah.
The game is definitely not over.
We've got Connor Mai on for Victoria, holding the yellow bludger. Playing on hoops a bit more.
As much as the Victorians are great at keeping that control, I do have noticed that they do love keeping as close as they can to hoops. I think that is a big difference between the New South Wales
Will Arnold
players
making a drive.
and the
Backhand
Victorians.
shot and it goes straight in. That's deadly.
Jake Quinlan suckering that beat from Gertler on an open hoop, and then a goal from Will Arnold.
I have to say Queensland's one bludger play has been exceptional on offense. They've scored almost every time with one bludger.
So we've got Ant on with Connor Mai.
We've got Jess Head on as well for Queensland. Queensland look to be playing a sort of double point. No, they've moved back into a more looser zone. We've got Michelle Mannering on for Victoria as well. Screen set up. No goal. Matt Tingate keeping the quaffle alive. Open Maddie Elliott. Misses the shot.
We've got a no-beating situation created by created by Victoria, and a goal.
A nice little shot there from Kit Mulcaster. Matt Tingate has to deserve credit for that one. He kept the quaffle alive there on offense.
I think we're about to see some issues with bludger control.
Double bludger turnover. Will that affect the goal? Matt Aslosh taking command there. Very good reference from her.
HR is only as good as their AR team, Walker.
Victoria's still set up pretty heavily on defense, so I don't think it'll affect them too much, but they'll be sorely missing that second bludger on defense.
We're seeing the control go to Queensland. Let's see if they're going to adjust, and they are adjusting their lines.
So we've got Joe Dodd subbing on.
We're seeing the double male beating line, first time for Queensland, and Joe Dodd back on.
Jess Head setting the screen.
We're seeing Will Arnold behind. Oh, no, not what Will Arnold. Number 6 there, Seeker, I believe.
Number 6.
Hunting from that behind. We've
Alex Winterborn.
also got Will Arnold with 6. That's not a great place for both your players to be. Joe Dodd is clearly dismounted, and he's got his hands in the air.
I think the call was that someone pulled Joe Dodd's broom out, but he kept going. I believe Paul Harrison was calling him safe and asked him to remount. And he got that shot on, I believe.
I have to say, even if Joe Dodd gets his broom in between his legs, we're still seeing Six and Arnold behind the hoops.
Yeah.
They understand that the winning goal is to get the ball behind hoops, but they're abusing it too much. The Victorians are going to pick up on this. Well, I hope they pick up on this. They're also really opening up themselves to, even though they do have control, they're having 2 chases behind hoops. They're really opening up the opportunity for the Victorians to get a quick
break counter attack.
Exactly. Read my mind, Walker. We're seeing
so Matt Tingate getting a card. I believe it was for dismounting a player.
We're seeing Will Arnold begging for the ball. Is it going to go to him? And Hogan's going to do a sneaky behind. Let's see if he can get it.
Goal. Joe Dodd gets the goal. Queensland will be happy with that goal because they're still retaining control with Daniel Sharp and Jake Quinlan set up on hoops.
We're seeing a new chase for Victoria. Who is that?
Alex Winterborn. Their primary seeker, I believe, or one of the seeker lineup.
Right. Well, clearly not. Walkers, we're seeing the seekers ready to go. I have to say I've been impressed with Caleb Ward seeking this tournament, but what the Queenslanders have been doing is they've been sending 6 out to sort of exhaust the seeker a bit, then Caleb there to sort of get a quick catch. Let's see. It looks
Nathan Lamb making inroads there. Bit of a high contact, I thought. Yeah, I think Nat Aslosh has picked up on that. Wet quaffle coming into play there. Will Arnold keeping it alive. I believe that was a behind contact. I think Michelle Mannering jumped into the contact, which would break the rules as she had to cease all momentum coming from behind to tackle Will Arnold there.
We saw McMorrow learn that the hard way yesterday. It's interesting to see, though, that a player as experienced as Drop Bear Mannering making a similar mistake.
I don't think we've seen too much. She was only came in today, so potentially she hasn't seen those kind of fouls yet.
Well, this might actually be a bit of a huge disadvantage to the Victorians, where they, I believe, down. Are they down a player?
Yep, they're down. They're down.
One player just before Snitch is on pitch, but they do have control. It's 40-50 Queenslanders' way, but they do not have control. As you said, the Victorians can get have proven to get a snitch very quickly.
I would be, if they aren't getting the snitch, I could see Queensland getting out of range here, though. Missed shot from Joe Dodd. They probably need to position that behind hoops chaser to cover those shots. We've got Nathan Morton subbing on now, and we've got Sam Kilpatrick and Anthony Hogan on.
As we're seeing the build-up to the snitch on pitch play, we're seeing also a build-up of pressure, and as people love to say, pressure makes diamonds. We'll see what really separates the elite players from the really good players.
Anthony Hogan securing bludger there. Playing with a lot of freedom. Nathan Morton wrapped up, Maddie Bell's open, and she gets the goal. Morton drawing in all 4 chases there from Queensland and making an easy pass off to Maddie Bell.
Seeing Morton keeping, Fitzpatrick and Hogan beating. The Victorians do not want to lose this snitch.
Matt Timgate dodging the bludger. Alex Winterbourne beat. Matt Timgate alone time on the snitch. It's 50-all.
He's alone with the snitch, Walker, but he's given the snitch space. Maybe this is part of his strategy.
Snitch Eden Hodge, done quite well in this tournament as a snitch. Also our assistant tournament director.
And a beat on Sika, and another beat on 12. We've already seen a Sika sub from the Queenslanders with 6 on. Interesting to see 23 on for the Victorians. They usually start with another Sika.
Also, while all this is happening, Quaffle's been held up for several seconds. The Quaffle's been held up. Will Arnold relaxing there with Nathan Morton having control of the Quaffle. I think this is working in Victoria's favour.
And we're finally seeing Queensland with a strong beater control. And they're
Winterbourne catching the snitch.
Game's not over yet, Walker. How do you think?
This is called good. This will mean Queensland will progress to the final series against the Blue Tongues.
Gary Oak always loves to say, the longer the rest talk, the cleaner the catch. Let's see how clean this catch is. Assuming that the Queenslanders have won, Walker, why do you think they've done so?
I definitely think your point about Queensland being a bit more adaptable was very valid. As you can see, they've also had the Quaffle game to step up even without one bludger. Victoria's really, their only chances came from fast breaks, I think, and that was due to their inherent beater strength.
Queenslanders are already hugging. Pride comes before the fall, Walker.
Victoria will be pretty disappointed, but valiant effort from them to keep the game this close.
Guys, I think this is the closest game of the entire tournament, Walker.
Clean catch to
Queensland.
So this will see Victoria move down, so they're knocked out, and they'll be fighting for 3rd place.
Queensland looking as though they've proven that they are no longer the younger sibling, going head-to-head with the New South Wales Blue Tongues.
Yes. Stay tuned for more coverage of State Shield.
I think we're good. Thanks, Neil.